Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. I thought I would sit down and do another video for you guys and gals. Let me get a sip of my water first. Get my beautiful radio voice going and let's talk about this. Okay, so over time you guys have noticed I had gotten to a point with my training to where I had reduced volumes down to fairly modest amounts, made great progress, and I pointed out I had plenty of clients who do less than 10 sets a week who got great results, drug-free, advanced lifters. I've said that for years. I personally have chosen to do higher volumes. Then when a lot of this data came out, I'm like, I want to run an experiment and see how I do personally trying to use these ridiculous volumes some of these studies are throwing out. I did it real time on camera. And quite frankly, I felt fatigued and tired all the time. I felt the training was low quality. I looked at what a variety of experts were saying, criticizing this, went with my own experience, and I'm like, yeah, this doesn't work. All this does is make us lazy in the gym, and it just wears us out doing low quality sets because you intentionally hold back. And I've noticed that even doing 3 versus 5 sets of an exercise, we will hold back on the early sets. When I do 2 sets of an exercise, I don't hold back at all. The training quality is higher. And so I've agreed, I've looked at a lot of the data, I've looked at, and I've said for a long time, I've discussed what guys like Birkin have done. I've discussed what researchers like Dr. Chris Beardsley have said. Some of these people who are talking about these things, who are saying, look, the data shows by and large that we can get away with very low volume. So when people say, are you getting enough? I want them to keep a couple points in mind. We have studies, numerous studies before all this one circle. Remember, this is just Brad Schoenfeld's circle. And I've discussed problems with that. And I'm not saying it's necessarily completely wrong. What I'm saying is it conflicts with other data. And the problem is that these people are not training hard. They're not training to failure. When we look at the hard studies where people are pushing their limits going to failure, we oftentimes see maximum growth as low as 5 sets. 5 sets per body part. Okay? We've seen some with 6 sets. And I want to, again, be clear on that. We have seen studies where it trained female lifters, did 6 sets of squats to failure a week, and they got bigger and stronger. Okay? These were women who already had a very, very robust base. Several years of hard training experience. They gained muscle and strength. The MRI showed muscle gain in their quads and glutes. Their squats went up. Their hip thrust went up. So we've seen this. We've seen these other studies where they compared 5, 10, 15, or 20 sets. And for some muscle groups, the 5 sets produced the most growth. For some body parts, the 10 produced the most growth. It was kind of almost an even mix. But it wasn't a large difference between those two. It was very small either way, whichever one was better. 15 produced less growth and 20 even less. This is the issue. This is when we train hard, this is what happens. We've seen guys like Birkin and his people get amazing results on sometimes 3 to 5 sets. And I mean, which is ridiculous. Look at the training protocols he did. I've looked at what guys like Paul Carter's doing with his people. Like the guy or not, it's irrelevant. He's getting results. His people are getting results. He worked a lot with John Meadows with a lot of this stuff. These people get results, and the data supports it. And I've said already, I had clients a couple years ago even who we took their training down to 3 days a week. Like 40-minute workouts 3 days a week. They got results. I have clients right now who train like that. I have a guy prepping for a powerlifting meet who's so busy who trains like that. He is getting results. He's getting bigger and stronger. So I said, look, let's do this, and I'm going to do it on a split routine. And there's a few things to keep in mind. One of the things I'm noticing, I am a lot stronger even on my isolation work. Because all my muscles get trained fresh, meaning if I train 2 body parts, notice I'm supersetting stuff. So the body part that's getting trained gets trained from the start of the workout. And I think that's the thing when we look at some of that data, and again, particularly a lot of stuff Beardsley's put out. He's pointed out the total fatigue and the nervous system fatigue that we get early in a workout impacts our ability to recruit muscle fibers. And I wanted us to think about that for a minute. I'm always one of those guys, arms have been the hardest for me to grow. Have they not? I think everyone agrees. I've struggled the most with arm development. The rest of my body is bigger than my arms. Like sitting here in a shirt, I look like I have pretty good arms, but then when you see me stand up shirtless in the videos, you can tell I'm disproportionate. All right. So now I have, at the moment, chest and back day. They get work supersets back and forth, but I do my 6 sets of each. So the same muscle group gets started and finished at the same time. Arm day, I start with a tricep and a bicep superset. My arms are stronger. They're way stronger. They are stronger on isolation work. What does this tell us? You know, I've seen guys like experts like Beardsley again point out, when you start stacking stuff at the end of a longer workout, your ability to even recruit muscle fibers, not just that you're weaker, recruiting muscle fibers is a problem. And I've always taken the logic, yeah, but if it's weaker because the bench pressing and the pull-ups and everything have worked my arms and it's just localized fatigue. And if that was the case, it wouldn't be a problem. It wouldn't be an issue. Because, why? Because they got worked first. If it's just localized fatigue. But if it's total systemic fatigue, yeah, he's right. And that's what he's showing data showing, which means muscle order matters. And for novices, it's fine. That's why novices, we can do full body. This is a problem I pointed out for people who want to do full body as more advanced lifters. You're not going to reach those upper threshold muscle fibers potentially on the last half of the workout. They may be getting neglected. So then in the case of someone like me trying to throw curls in at the end, probably most of the bicep stimulus I'm getting is still coming from the rows and pull-ups because I'm too fatigued to recruit the biceps. Overall nervous system fatigue. This is an issue. And I've noticed it immediately. I am stronger on these exercises. So the only stuff I'm throwing in at the end is stuff like calves, right? Stuff that doesn't matter as much. Peripheral muscles, you guys saw me do at the very end, neck on my posterior chain and shoulder day. But notice I do a set of shoulders between every set of posterior chains so that I start working shoulders immediately. In the first 5 minutes of the workout, we're hitting still the important muscle groups when we're stacking too. It matters in this context. And that's why I'm doing it as a split routine. I need to make sure that every muscle in my body is getting stimulated correctly. And if I'm doing enough volume like that we know still produces very robust growth, it's great. And here's the other thing. My fatigue has been lower. I'm noticing I'm less tired. I'm not getting DOMs. That's a big deal. Because when I was trying to do the other stuff and push triceps, my triceps were hurting 7 days a week. 7 day a week tricep DOMs. I'm like, this can't be right. Now they're not getting DOMs, and I'm stronger on tricep isolation. Okay, I'm stronger on it. I'm doing skull crushers heavier than I was previously able to. And I'm going to see how the standing dumbbell curls go, but even because I'm going to do those first tomorrow, and this video will be up after that. So the thing is, I think this is going to work very well towards these physique goals. You know, the other thing to think about, even when you look at the volumes, there's a lot of overlap because I hit every single muscle with at least one compound movement. That matters. So even though it's like it is 6 direct sets, my arms are getting a lot more work though. Why? Because I'm still doing 6 sets for chest, 4 of them are presses. All my pulling is working biceps. I do weighted pull-ups and 2 types of rows. Then they get it on the arm day. So then you also look at overlap. Is my back getting hit again on the deadlifts? I think that it is. My shoulders, because they have their own day, they're technically getting hit 3 times. The upper body stuff, a lot of the shoulders. Limited on the arm day, but it is there. Particularly front delts. That's one reason I'm not training them. So same thing. I'm doing closed grip bench first. It is working the chest again. So we are seeing some peripheral overlap. So the thing to think about there also as far as the benefits go, I'm technically getting more than 6 sets for every muscle because they're still being used very heavily on different days. And even if that's not enough to have a very robust growth stimulus, like let's say, well, maybe those pull-ups and rows aren't working your biceps enough to get a great response, but are they re-stimulating muscle protein synthesis from the arm day on Thursday? which was extremely intense. But the difference is of how am I getting away with these volumes? I'm taking almost everything to failure. Almost everything is being taken to failure. I'm working as hard as I can on every set. And that matters. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys and gals next time.